Good evening. I want you to listen to the prophetic word that I delivered 2 or 3 days ago on this platform. And this is what the Lord has been telling me is happening in Harare. And already the Hararians, Zanu PF, is already uh, confused and perplexed. I said that they're going to be confused. The Lord is going to pour onto the Zanu PF people a spirit of drunkenness, and they will not know if they are right or wrong. Listen very quickly to what I said 2 or 3 days ago. They are going to deal with each other. They will be filled with the spirit of drunkenness and carelessness, mistrust. The path is going to be hazy. Each man and woman will not know what they're doing, if it's right or wrong. Chris has been fired. There you have it. All this comes at the backdrop of the confusion surrounding US sanctions on Zimbabwe. The Lord has spoken to me that they will be confused. They will not know whether they are right or wrong. I was surprised. Just a day after that word of the Lord, ZANU-PF was confused. What the United States did was move the Zimbabwean sanctions from emergency sanctions to another form of administration, which is the Magnitsky. Okay, it's a very difficult word to pronounce. Magnitsky, something like that. And so ZANU-PF initially thought that they are out of US sanctions, and they went wild celebrating. Some of their surrogates even claiming that it is their court actions that have led the mighty USA to removing ZANU-PF from its sanctions. As the Holy Spirit had told me a couple of days ago, that they will be drunk and confused, not knowing if they're right or wrong. It turned out they were wrong. The United States just moved them from one administrative way of administering sanctions to another, what they call the Magnitsky Act. All right. Now, here's the thing. President Itim Nangagwa, General Chiwenga, and 9 other people are still mentioned, and 3 entities. I would like to thank US President Joe Biden and the White House administration for ensuring that the perpetrators of human rights violations and those who undermine our democracy, our good governance, and all that are still in the US targeted sanctions. I support efforts by the White House and the United States government in trying to ensure that perpetrators of human rights abuse are brought to book and are punished accordingly. President Emerson Mnangagwa and his deputy and those that run the Zimbabwe military state do deserve what is coming to them from the American sanctions. I do believe that we have got a lot of work to do as far as dealing with the Zimbabwean government is concerned. It is clear that with ZANU-PF under US sanctions for over 20 years, they have found creative or clever ways of what they would like to term sanction busting, which really is undermining the authority of the global superpower, which is the United States. They have created multiple uh, complex structures of siphoning public wealth, public monies into the coffers of their own offshore bank accounts that are run by their uh, friends. Takwirei is one of the frontmen in Itim Nangagwa's web of criminal activities, which is asset stripping the Zimbabwean government. They have got what they call the Multapa, they call it the most Tapa Sovereign Fund. It actually is not a sovereign fund in the true sense of what a sovereign fund is. It is just an entity that is used to siphon the assets of the government of Zimbabwe into the hands of Daguerre and his criminal syndicate. What the US sanctions need to do is to broaden its scope and deepen its reach and go into countries like South Africa and Mauritius, where these complex structures are set up by Daguerre and Co. on behalf of Idi Mnangagwa and cronies in the military state. We need to see the involvement of South African companies in Mauritius who are aiding Mnangagwa to undermine democracy and to deny Zimbabweans their right to development. The United States, via the White House, should continue playing the role that it is playing and trying to deter Idi Mnangagwa and his regime from completely destroying Zimbabwe. What I like about this Magnitsky Act is that it does broaden the reach of the targeted sanctions to include even people that are working with or aiding ZANU-PF and its cronies, whether directly or indirectly. That is why I add the South African part of Daguerre's business empire and also the Mauritius part. Banks and financial institutions, law firms and accounting firms that are involved in these scandals should also be brought to book by US sanctions and other United States institutions that deal with such financial crimes. I'd like to thank again the White House and President Biden for being at the forefront to fight this bully that is Emerson Mnangagwa, a bully whom ordinary Zimbabweans have got no clue of how to deal with, for he boastfully claims to be the military, the intelligence, the police, and therefore claims no one can touch him. I would like to say to you, Mr. Idi, President Idi Mnangagwa, that the United States is not your military, your police, or your intelligence. President Idi Mnangagwa, please be reminded that the United States is a preeminent global superpower and it is above all those whom you claim to protect you. You have again now sought the aid of an Indian paramilitary group to protect you against the military of Zimbabwe or the citizens of Zimbabwe whom you are fighting with. Say, walls are closing in and wars are closing in. I am excited that the cries of the people of Zimbabwe are heard at the deeper corridors of power in Washington. And I do believe that this partnership, this coordinated partnership that us, the ordinary poor Zimbabweans, are having together with our global superpower leaders, will you yield results in no time? And there's only one result that we're seeking. It is the removal of ZANU-PF and President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa from power. Anything short of that is a failure. ED must go. Zanu PF must go. God bless Zimbabwe. Have a great evening.